Witch Queen expansion for Destiny 2 comes out on February 22nd. If you're like me, you haven't played Destiny for weeks or months even. Now you're like, what is going on? You want to get into the expansion and play with your friends, but you're scared for turning up for a raid and them saying, oh, just equip your stasis subclass, and being like, my stasis what now? So this guide is for you, to help you get ready for just before Witch Queen launches, so when the game goes you're ready to play with your friends. We're not going to be doing every little thing or trying to min-max, we're just going to get you in a position where you can enjoy the new content without looking like a fool.
In her greatest trick yet.
There's 3 parts to this video: stuff you don't need, stuff you could do, and stuff you do need at the end. I put it at the end because I want you to watch all the way to the end. It makes YouTube like my video. I've also added chapters just in case you don't want my video to do well and you just want to skip to the stuff you need. You do you monster. Part 1. Stuff you don't need. Don't worry about your light level. Seriously, just absolutely forget about it. You don't need to use my super useful video about how to get your light level to 1330 because it literally doesn't matter anymore. Everyone's gear is going to be upgraded to 1350 when Witch Queen launches, and we get a new artifact. So all of the stuff you've done for the light level doesn't matter anymore. You don't need to look for powerful engrams or pinnacle engrams or anything like that. It's a complete waste of time. It's good because everyone will be on a level playing field and you'll be able to wear what you want and you'll be absolutely fine. So any exotics you've got, they'll all be brought up to the new starting level. Also, don't worry about stuff in the helm. All of that's going away. You don't need to worry about collecting things. I've seen some guides about how to get ready for Witch Queen and they're talking about stocking up on all of the different materials and all of that kind of stuff. You don't really need to worry about all of that kind of thing. You'll get stuff while you're playing Witch Queen. You'll get the things that you need. Just pick up stuff as you go do the other things on this list. Don't worry about getting purples that people say are good. There's a million guns that people think are incredible in Destiny. There'll be guns that people are saying, oh, you have to use this for Crucible, or you have to use this for strikes, or you have to use this for raids. It doesn't matter that much, unless you're trying to complete the raids when you're massively underleveled, you know, you're trying to progress, be first in the world and stuff like that. Most of the guns are fine. There's obviously some guns that are a little bit better than others, but to be honest, it's not worth the stress of trying to grind out different types of activities to try and get the purples that you want, and then to try and get all of the god rolls on those purples. It'll just drive you absolutely crazy. I honestly wouldn't bother. Also, when you get the Witch Queen, there's going to be new guns and new stuff that you want to use. You don't want to be just using an old gun because someone said it was brilliant a couple of patches ago. They'll probably balance everything out, and I'm sure the new Witch Queen stuff will be super powerful, so don't really worry about what purples you have. I'm sure it'll be fine. Part 2. Stuff you could do, but you don't really have to. You could go back and finish the Forsaken campaign. You don't need to, but it is going away. Once Witch Queen comes out, the Forsaken campaign will be completely gone, even if you own the expansion. So if you kind of care about the story, it's probably worth doing. Although, if you care about the Destiny story and at this point you still haven't done the Forsaken campaign, you're in quite a lot of trouble. There's so much stuff to do, and a lot of that stuff is either things that you can't do anymore or stuff that you're soon not going to be able to do. So you're a little bit behind. You might be better off watching some YouTube videos explaining what's going on in the lore. Another thing you could do is to stack completed bounties. So basically the idea is that you fill up your bounty log with bounties that you've already completed, so that when you buy the battle pass and Witch Queen is out, you can immediately hand all of them in and get a bunch of experience. Apparently if you do it perfectly, you could end up with about 25 levels of the battle pass straight away. This obviously isn't essential, it's just something that will save you a little bit of time at the beginning of Witch Queen. If you don't want to rush through Witch Queen, it's probably not going to matter that much. Some bounties are worth more experience, so if you do want to do this, make sure you prioritize those. The best ones have like an XP sign and 2 plus signs next to them. There's a couple of those in Cosmodrome, a couple of them in Europa and on the moon, and then there's the clan ones if you want to do that, and that sort of special horse thing with the 30th anniversary stuff. There's a few different ways to do it, but basically try to complete as many of those weekly bounties as you can, and then you can fill up the log with a load of daily bounties if you want, just so when Witch Queen launches you can hand them all in and get a bunch of XP. Make sure you don't accidentally completely fill up your quest log though. I think you have like 64 slots in total. Leave a few spare because I'm guessing when Witch Queen starts you'll want to start the quests for Witch Queen, so maybe leave like 4 or 5 open. Also, there's not really much point doing the tower ones where it's like do so many strikes or do so much Crucible or do so many Gambit matches, because you're probably going to do that stuff when you're playing Witch Queen, so I wouldn't really bother with trying to stockpile any of those. Another thing that you could do is try and get some of the better exotics if you don't have them already. If you're going to be trying the raids, personally I'd suggest trying to get Xenophage and Lament. Xenophage is a beefy exotic machine gun that kind of fires incredibly slowly, it's semi-automatic. But it's unbelievably powerful, so in Vault of Glass you have to shoot all of these things called oracles quickly. It can one-shot them, which is super useful. The quest isn't too hard to get it, so it's a Shadowkeep quest chain. You have to have the expansion Shadowkeep to do it, and it starts on the moon. It's a little bit tricky, I suppose. If you can get help from someone that knows what they're doing, it'll make it a lot easier, but it's definitely possible to solo. Google Xenophage quest chain and then it'll show you how to get it. The other exotic I think you should probably get is Lament. It's an exotic sword that I absolutely love. It's super good against fighting bosses or anything with a ton of health. It's cool. It's got like a chainsaw type blade on it, so you can rev it up to do extra damage, and I think you get health back while you use it, and it builds up some more of its own ammo. It's really, really cool. And again, it's a quest chain. You can get it on Europa. It's in Beyond Light, so you need Beyond Light to do it. It's pretty simple to do, it doesn't take very long at all. There are plenty of other exotics that people will recommend for sure. There's always going to be exotics that are useful in particular situations, so if you have time between now and then and you've done everything else in the video, that's probably the most useful thing you could do, is just go around and pick up as many of the exotics as you can, doing activities that aren't too bad, so doing all of the quest line exotics where you don't need to do raids and stuff like that. Or if you have a clan that's willing to run through a few old raids, you can do that and try and pick up a few exotics that way. The last thing in this category for things that you could do is to check out Xur every weekend. You can get some basically free exotics every weekend from him. It's pretty cool. You just Google where is Xur to find him. He'll be on one of the planets, or sometimes he's in the tower, and you just go up to him and then you can buy a bunch of stuff. He also has some purples that often have really, really good rolls on them, so that's worth doing. It's kind of an easy way to get more gear. It's the sort of thing, while you're playing Destiny, you should probably always be doing this. It's never a bad idea to check out what Xur's selling. Part 3, stuff you actually need. So the first big thing is, if you own the Beyond Light expansion, you need to complete the Beyond Light campaign on every single one of your characters, because that gets you the stasis abilities. Also, you don't really want to be going through the Beyond Light campaign when Witch Queen's out. So once you complete the Beyond Light campaign, you unlock the Stasis subclass, which has some quite powerful abilities. It's more useful for some classes than others maybe, but you never know how it's going to be buffed or changed in the Witch Queen, so it's well worth unlocking them. After you finish the campaign and you've got that class, you then need to get aspects. These are like modifiers to the subclass. You can equip 2 of them at a time. They're quite powerful, and they will have this kind of system in Witch Queen for the Void class as well, so it's a nice way of getting used to that system. To get the stasis aspects, you need to complete the Born in Darkness quest chain and then a couple of extra quests after that. And again, annoyingly, you have to do this on every character. So to unlock a stasis subclass encounter, you have to play the whole campaign, which means you play through the whole campaign 3 times. It's kind of tedious. It only takes about maybe like 4 or 5 hours the first time, and then you can do it quicker the second and third times once you know which bits you can just run through and you've got better weapons and stuff like that. But then getting the aspects, you have to do quite a long quest chain, again, on every single character, which is kind of tedious. Finally, you can get fragments as well. These are a little bit easier. Basically, you can only get 2 of them per week. You get quests from the Stranger, from the Exo Stranger, and 2 of them per week. You can choose whether you do a Strike quest or a Gambit quest or a Crucible quest, just whatever you want to play. And then once you've completed them, you get these tokens which you can use to unlock the fragments. One of the really good things about this is it's an account-wide unlock. So once you've unlocked them on one character, they're unlocked for everybody else as well. You don't need to do this on every single character, which is super nice. Now, you've only got a few weeks left until Witch Queen comes out, if you're watching this video when I'm recording it. And that means that you probably want to prioritize the fragments that are the best for the class that you like to play. So make sure you Google it, which fragments are best. There's a lot of tier lists and things like that. And just prioritize unlocking the top few on that chain, so then you can use those when the game comes out. So I hope that all helped. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.
There is no greater power.